using a telescope, or just the naked eye, we all have stared up at the moon in amazement. It keeps the earth balanced, affects low and high tides of the oceans, and even gives us seasons. Many will lay on their backs and look up at the bright satellite called the moon and say, what a wonderful creation. What if that creation was aliens and not God? This episode, I look into the artificial moon theory that suggests our closest neighbor in space was purposely placed there. If the moon is not real, what is it made of? But more importantly, why is it there at all? So sit back and lend me your ear.
What's going on? Some crazy guy just started attacking my sister. Oh no! Who would do such a thing? It's my uncle!
Man, shut up and sit back with Uncle Yak. And welcome back to another episode of Sit Back with Uncle Yak. I'm your host, Uncle Yak. And this is episode number 61 of the podcast. Episode 61. Like always, I want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every week like you do so faithfully. I really do appreciate it. And I also want to let you know that you can get on my Instagram, UncYak, UNCYK, all one word. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, what you want more of. Any feature suggestions on podcasts, you can get on there and shout me out. Say, Uncle Yak, can you check this out? I'll look into it. If it pans out, I'll reach out to you and say, hey, I'm doing that episode you requested, letting you know when it's coming out. If it doesn't pan out, I'll also reach out to you and let you know, hey, it didn't work out, Bubba. Sorry. But I'll keep looking into it. If it does come out, I'll shout you out at the beginning of that podcast, letting you know that it was your idea and not mine. Give you credit where credit is due. That's the easy way of getting a hold of me, guys. If you guys want to get in touch with me, Instagram, direct message me. I mean, a lot of you guys have been reaching out to me, and some of it's not even about future podcasts or whatnot. You know, it's just want to chat. Just want to chat it up with Uncle Yak. I'm all ears, you know what I mean? I don't give a shit. We can talk about anything, you know? But yeah, that's how it is. So yeah, it's the easy way to get a hold of me. I do want to shout out the winner of the giveaway that we just had. And that was Misty Maldonado. She was the grand prize winner of that charcuterie board and the charcuterie, I guess, tongue twister there. It was a charcuterie board made by my sponsors, Stay Chic LJ, and an actual charcuterie board, which was the meat and all that shit, the food part, was by JS_ charcuterie boards. So congratulations, Misty. I hope you enjoyed that giveaway. Thank you guys for if you submitted your information to win. You didn't win, sorry. There's going to be one winner, but yeah, a lot of you guys submitted multiple entries. I think one person submitted 8 times. They didn't win, but hey, the more you enter, the more chance you have to win. And that was a lot of work too, because my dumb ass said, oh, you got to follow this person, you got to follow that person, you got to follow this person, you got to tag this, you got to use this hashtag. And I sat there, I was up to like 3 a.m. making sure everyone who entered did everything that they were supposed to. I even looked out for you guys. I even gave you guys hints saying, hey, you're missing this, hint, hint, you know? And all you guys realized that and got with the program there and said, oh, I got to do this. So, yeah, I shouldn't have done that, but hey, I'm a nice guy. What can I say? But yeah, I got a real fun episode for you guys today. But before all that, I do have to be responsible and pay some bills. So with that being said, I'm going to kick it over to my sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Stay Chic LJ, a local small business producing one-of-a-kind custom make-to-order products. A lot of companies feature items for sale, and you only get to choose from their inventory. Stay Chic LJ not only has a vast inventory to choose from, but they allow you, the customer, to have a voice in designing your product. Want something done but don't see it in their inventory? Simply request it and watch them hand make your product with love. You want a cup with Uncle Yak's face blasted on the side? They'll do that too. Or maybe you just want a simple cup with the words, bah. they can do that too. You can find them on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Etsy. That's _Stay Chic LJ. Support local. Support small business. And tell them Uncle Yak sent ya. Now back to the podcast. And like you guys heard in the description, this episode is on artificial moon. Oh, yes, I'm going there today. I mentioned earlier how you can get on my Instagram and request episodes. Well, my buddy of mine, Patrick Lopez, he didn't request this, but he sent me information on this. And that's how I found out about all this stuff. So he's always sending me information. And so I just want to say, hey, Pat, thanks for giving me this information, even though you didn't say, here, I want you to do this next on the podcast like it was your idea. But no, I just want to say, hey, Patrick Lopez, fuck you. And thanks all at the same time, you know? So yeah, I had a lot of fun researching this topic. You know, it really got me going here. And I also want to let you guys know that next week is going to be a very special episode I got going on. I have a special guest. He's a really good friend of mine, but haven't seen each other in a really long time. So we're finally going to get together and put a podcast. It's going to be a story time episode. So yeah, that's if you're new to the podcast and unfamiliar with story time, it's pretty much me, a glass of whiskey, and the microphone. I sit back and tell stories. It's usually about myself. Most of them are embarrassing, but I don't think they're embarrassing. That's just life. That's how I am, you know. And I'm when I talk to you guys, I'll just give you guys how it is. You know, I don't give a shit. You can laugh your ass off at me, make fun of me, make memes about me. You know, I don't care. I'm here for you guys, your entertainment and whatnot. I thought they were funny. They're good stories, but this time I'm doing it with someone else, so it's going to be double the story. So yeah, like I said, look out for that. That's going to be dropping next week, episode 62. So special story time episode, you know. And like every episode, you know, I like to enjoy a glass of whiskey with episode. Every episode. This episode's no different. I'm rotating back to Jameson, the IPA edition. It's supposed to be whiskey, a Jameson whiskey that's been aged in IPA beer cask, so gives it a distinct taste. You know, it's not like regular Jameson. It has a better taste, almost like a sweet taste, I guess you would say. I don't know how to describe fucking whiskey. I just either I fucking like it or I don't, you know. And I like this one. You know, it's not too strong. It's not like too weak either. It's a good blend, a good balance, I should say, I guess. But yeah, like I mentioned, artificial moon, guys. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever thought about this or even looked into it or even heard about it. But there's a theory going around that our moon isn't real. You know, it's just out there. It's one of this is an episode where you can put your own theory on things and have your own opinion. It might be totally different from 10 other people, you know what I mean? It's that bizarre, you know? But it really makes you scratch your head and really think about, like, you know, everything you might have known about the moon could very well be wrong. And exactly how I felt. But, you know, that's enough of me blabbering on, you know. I'll just shut my damn mouth, take a sip of whiskey in tradition. Cheers. And let's begin the podcast. Our moon, 238,900 miles away, up in the sky. Yet it's the clearest thing we can see in space. Officially considered a satellite, our moon is bigger than the dwarf planet Pluto and the 5th largest moon in the entire solar system. Our moon takes 27 days to orbit us and has a radius of 1,079.4 miles. How the moon got where it's at, or how it is even created, is still a mystery to scientists all over the world. It's estimated by some that the moon is 4.53 billion years old, which is also said to be the age of planet Earth. Some scientists suggest that the moon is older than Earth but it's still up in the air along with anything dealing with the beginning of time. Camping trips, hiking up a mountain, drives on a two-way highway, or laying in the sand on a beach, our moon is always what is visible and astounding. At times, the moon is bright enough to even guide you at night, or big enough to be seen virtually any place you stand outside at night. The moon is much more than that, though. Law enforcement officials might tell you that a full moon brings about more violence in people and leads to more violent crimes for that one time during each month, unless it's a blue moon, which is 2 full moons in 1 month. The moon affects our ocean's low and high tides and is even believed to keep our weather on Earth in check. The perfect size that seemed like its identical size to the sun when a solar eclipse occurs at the very exact moment the moon passes in front of the sun. Although it's not accurate, during a crescent moon, lining up each point of the crest of the moon and taking it down to the horizon will give you a general direction of where south is, but this is only true in places like in northern latitudes. Hearing the moon is made of cheese as a kid was a funny way of thinking about our moon, when in reality, it was an older saying for human gullibility. Kind of like saying you have beachfront property in Utah to sell someone. Obviously, our moon is not made of cheese, but what if it's not what we think it is at all? What if our moon is an artificial structure built by someone or something well advanced than us and is used as a base in space to spy on us without anybody knowing? What data was collected by NASA that pertains to the lunar surface of our moon? More importantly, what secret experiment went down on the moon in the 60s that still remains classified today? Sure, our government will lie to the public about certain things and usually will say it's for national security reasons or to avoid mass hysteria. How would you feel if you were lied to about our closest neighbor in space and it was revealed that the very one thing we can see each and every night in the nighttime sky is not even real? Something to think about. But hey, I just give you guys the facts. It's up to you to decide. Is the moon real or fake? So that's pretty much the rundown of this episode, you know? It gets pretty wild out there, you know? It's one of those things that starts to boggle your mind, you know? I remember when I was little, I would constantly daydream, you know? Sitting there, staring off into fucking nothing with my fucking mouth open. People was laughing at me like, what the fuck this ass clown doing? Close your fucking mouth. Fucking flies coming out of it. But I would sit there and think, I would try to fathom the thought of how the universe was created, you know, in space. Like, how did everything come to be? You know, they have the popular Big Bang theory, what scientists say it was just a big bang happened and boom, poof. But that didn't never set right with me. It didn't feel right to me, you know. I was on the concept of something created the universe. Like, what was it? How did it come to be? What was it like before the universe even existed? Because there was a time. There had to be a time, you know. It wasn't there, you know. Who created? What happened? How did it? And that always boggled my fucking mind. Like, it was like a fucking mind freak to me. It's like, fuck, dude. You can't even think about it, you know. And that's how I felt about when I researched this topic about the moon being fake or being hollow. You know, it's just like, what the fuck? Everything we've ever known is just gone out through the window, you know? I never thought about this until I researched, you know, about, you know, it's just, we see the moon, we look at it, it has its different shapes, you know? You can get a calendar and say, oh, it's going to be a full moon this day, half moon this day, crescent moon this day, you know? Or you see the big, was just recently, wasn't it? A big giant fucking red moon or some shit like that. There's always some weird shit going on, you know? Where the moon just looks humongous, you know? In the sky. Now, I think that if the moon was useless, this idea would make better sense, you know? Like, if the moon was just there, it didn't do nothing, you know? It was just fucking, the moon was on unemployment, feeding off the government, you know, just sitting there, not doing nothing. Then I think this theory would make a lot more sense, you know? But now you have other things at bay, you know? You know, it's they say the moon controls the low and high tide on the oceans. You know, it controls the weather. Some scientist says if we didn't have the fucking moon, it would take the earth off its axis and we wouldn't have seasons anymore. It would just be one season. So now that's even a bigger mind fuck. Like, what the fuck? So it's obviously doing something. How could it be fake? You know? These are the type of questions that keep Uncle Yak up at night. Laying in bed thinking about the fucking moon, you know? Now, many believe that the moon landings were fake. But what if the entire moon is fake? See, that's another thing too. You know, I did an episode on the fake moon landing, or if the moon landing was fake. I was undecided on it, you know? I personally don't think the moon landing was fake. Well, a lot of people do. Now, this episode might go in their favor because if they believe the moon landing is fake and we never went to the moon, and what if the moon is fucking not even real, that gives them even more fucking leverage to be like, yeah, I told you so, you know? Like, yeah. Of course we didn't go there because it's not real, pretty much, you know? That just definitely just throws everything out the window and that you thought, that you grew up through, your textbooks, your history books, you know, science class, you know, everything. It changes everything. You know, it's just fucking, I don't know, man. I don't know how to feel about this. And you guys will see as it goes on. It just trips you out. So, yeah, how about we get on with the meat and potatoes of the podcast. Ancient civilizations often reported the moon as being a true spectacle. Ancient civilizations often reported the moon as being a true spectacle, and it still is today. The sun is almost 400 times the diameter of our moon, while it almost is exactly 400 times farther away from us than our moon. From our point of view on Earth, they look the same size. Why is the moon so perfect? Could this merely be chalked up as a cosmic coincidence? Or is there something bigger at play? Ancient civilizations, often in the text, refer to a time before the moon and even call the group of people they call proselynes, which means those who were here before the moon. The ancient Zulu tribes of Africa often talk about a time before the moon was even in the heavens and describe the moon as an egg without its yolk. The ancient Zulus even suggest that the moon was brought to us and caused great cataclysms that created a great flood that nearly wiped out all of humanity. Sound familiar? The great flood in the Bible did wipe out nearly all life on the planet, but that was created by God and not the moon. One would have to wonder why ancient civilizations would speak of something so bizarre, like a time before the moon was in the heavens. I often say that ancient civilizations record what they see, and that's how they tell their story. It makes zero sense to lie about what you see during ancient times. The ancient Sumerians talked about angels coming from the skies when referencing the Anunnaki, but they were believed to be aliens and not angels. But if you were living during Mesopotamia, what else would you think anything that wasn't human was? Like I mentioned earlier, scientists can't even come to a single conclusion on how the moon was formed. There are 4 theories that sound good, but are easily debunked by science itself. The first theory is the fission theory, which suggests a chunk of Earth at some point in time broke off and condensed into what the moon is today. The only issue with this theory is it doesn't explain the 400-degree baking that the moon's surface endured. For this theory to be true, the Earth would have to have gone through the same 4,000-degree baking, and there is no evidence from Earth that supports that. The next theory is the capture theory that suggests the moon was captured by Earth as it was whizzing or flying by through space. This is obviously highly unlikely because it would take an exact point in time with the perfect conditions for this to even be plausible. And more than likely, the moon would just collide with Earth. Next is the condensation theory that theorizes that the Earth and the moon condensed at some time from materials in the solar system. But seeing that the moon is not as dense as Earth, this is likely not true either. The last theory is the planet-like Mars theory. This theory suggests that a planet similar to Mars crashed into Earth and were broke off eventually became what we call our moon today. The only issue with this theory is that during the first Apollo missions, pieces of the moon were taken and studied, and it was revealed that the Earth and the moon both have the same isotopes, which can't happen if something else in the solar system crashed into Earth. Our moon is as mysterious as it ever been, and we truly don't have the slightest idea on how it was created. And the only logical explanation is that it's not real and was placed in position by something well advanced. I'll pause right here. Okay. The precise size of the moon is astronomically impossible. Okay. Let's just address the elephant in the room. Okay. How big the moon is. I believe it's a quarter the size of Earth. You know, it's not a small piece of rock, you know, it's rather large. It orbits fairly close for being the size it is. It's orbiting fairly close to Earth. And then you combine that with the precise size of the Earth. Like I mentioned, how it's 400 times smaller than the sun, I believe it was, or 400 times farther. But every year during a solar eclipse, the moon passes in front of the sun and it's like a perfect match. And many experts or scientists says that that's so rare or almost physically impossible to have something cosmically on that level that is the perfect size. Like, how did this perfect scenario come to be? Is pretty much what it is. Like, anything else in the solar system is not like that, you know? The perfect orbit that it goes around the Earth is just, most moons don't do that. On other planets, they don't do that. They don't follow a perfect orbit. It's more oblique or oval shape, you know, or just wherever it wants to go, you know? But not our moon. You know, it's too perfect. I was saying that's the issue with it. It's too perfect. Like, it's too good to be true, almost, to say, you know, I guess. Which, I mean, now a lot of people would argue that, okay, God created the heavens and the earth, I mean, the moon, everything, the planets. So that's why everything is perfect, because something perfect created it. Which I can fully understand that, you know. If you're a perfect being or a perfect spirit and you have the power to create something, of course it's going to be perfect. You know what I mean? I think we would, a lot of people would question something that was made by a perfect spirit or God and it wasn't perfect, you know? It'd be like, okay, well, how are you perfect? But the moon is lopsided or it doesn't line up perfectly or this and that, you know? But yeah, but that's a strong argument for people who go that route, you know? Because even Earth, it's the precise distance away from the sun to maintain life, you know? And all these theories, I mean, you can believe what you want, you know? And it's not wrong, because fuck, it's just as plausible as anything, you know? The ancient people, I like to say they're like kids. My grandma used to tell me, kids don't lie, or babies don't lie, you know? At the time, I thought she was lying. Of course they do. My sister was lying. She was crying to my grandma that I hit her. Yeah, she's fucking lying. But my grandma told me babies don't lie. And that's how I feel about the ancient civilizations, you know? You have no way to communicate with anyone else. You write shit down. What's the point of lying? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. You know, you wouldn't lie. I mentioned that in the episode about the Cadborosaurus. How I forgot the name of the group or the civilization that lived up in that area of Canada and Washington State area, but they drew symbols, or they drew the Cadborosaurus on the canoes. They drew it in their caves. Why would they draw something that was fake or something that didn't exist, you know? That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? It doesn't go down like that, you know? You draw what you see, you know? Everyone's seen the caveman drawings where they drew like a cow or different animals. 'Cause that's what was around them, you know? What would a caveman have to gain by fucking, I'm about to shake the whole world up right now. I'm gonna draw a fucking, what's that call it? A fucking unicorn, you know? To make people think we had unicorns around here, you know? They won't do it. They don't lie like that, you know? So that's why I think when you go back to the Zulu tribes of Africa and the ancient Sumerians of Mesopotamia, their tablets or wherever they drew on, wherever they portrayed, that's what happened. You know, if the Zulu says there were time before the moon was in the heavens, then that's pretty self-explanatory that there wasn't a fucking moon in the sky. You know? And that's why different theories make it so mysterious. It makes it so mysterious because you don't know what the hell it is anymore, you know? You had all these theories going by. Everyone has their own ideas. Those 4 theories I gave you guys about how the moon was created, that was just 4. There's probably like fucking 10 of them. And none of them make fucking sense. You know, that's why scientists don't know what the hell's going on, you know? They're just theorizing, okay, oh yeah, well, this could have been done, you know? And like I mentioned, the Sumerians and the Anunnaki. If you guys want to go back and listen to my episode on the Anunnaki, or I think it was called Planet X, Nibiru, it talks about the Sumerians and the Anunnaki, which were aliens from Planet X or Nibiru, which most scientists will tell you doesn't exist, only because they haven't found it. But the ancient Sumerians were well advanced, past their time. You know, they invented beer, sandals, chariots, irrigation system, all kinds of stuff. They had tools, but everyone else around them was living in the Stone Ages. Like they were using antlers from animals as tools, you know? How did this one civilization surpass everyone else technology wise, everyone around them? During a time frame was 6,000 fucking years ago. And they drew on their tablets, the Sumerian texts, they wrote about these gods coming from the heavens, which were, they said they were the Anunnaki. They were aliens. And not only did they share their information or share their knowledge with this civilization that was once in the Stone Ages and now it's fucking thriving, but they also mated with humans and created a super race that helped them mine gold. That they supposedly needed gold for their home planet and found that Earth has a lot of gold, and they breeded with humans, made this super race, which is called the Nephilim in the Bible, which David and Goliath was a Nephilim, freakishly tall humans that they used as slaves to help them mine their gold, you know? Not to get off topic, but I mean, I'm just giving you guys a point of why would the ancient Sumerians write about something like this and it'd be not real, you know what I mean? You have nothing else to write about or nothing. Who are you going to fool, you know? Why would you lie? For what I'm saying is, and you combine that with all the technology that you had for your time, you know, someone had to give you that information. So let's move on along here. I'm sorry if I rambled on too much for you guys, but next one, let's get into the Apollo missions. The Apollo missions of the late 1960s and early 70s was an historic feat for all of mankind and gave everyone around the world hope of learning more about space. On July 20th, 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin made history by being the first humans to set foot on the moon. They weren't there just to walk around and play grab ass. They did some work on helping to figure out what the hell the moon is made of by taking samples of moon dust and rock and bringing them back to Earth to be studied. Not many people know that one of the missions of the Apollo 11 crew was to set up seismic equipment on the lunar surface so it can be studied in what NASA called moonquakes. This plan was simple. Once the astronauts got done conducting their duties and they were all set to leave the moon's surface, a piece of the lunar module would be dropped back down on the moon. What happened next shocked everyone at NASA and would forever change the way we see the moon. The lunar module that was dropped landed 40 miles or 64 kilometers away from the seismic equipment, yet the moon rang like a bell for 55 minutes. This was obviously jaw-dropping news and required more research and testing, so NASA decided that every single Apollo mission would conduct the same test, and all the results were the same. The moon rang like a gong or a bell. The Chapel experiment is a secret testing hypothesis that NASA has been tight-lipped about, even going as far as making the document classified and not viewable to the public. What testing is going on at the moon with the name Chapel Bell that there is a need to keep it a secret? Need more proof? Here's a quote from NASA in which they say, quote, "The moon reacted like a gong. For about 3 hours, it vibrated and traveled to depths of 22 to 25 miles, or 35 to 40 kilometers," unquote. I don't know about you guys, but ringing and vibrating of the moon's surface up to 3 hours is a very strong point that the moon is indeed hollow. I honestly can't think of another logical explanation that would make sense about the moon's surface ringing for large amounts of time. There is, however, a theory that suggests large caverns or void pockets beneath the moon's surface, but still that doesn't explain why the ringing goes on for so long. 2 Russian scientists published their own theory in the late 1970s in the magazine called Sputnik. Michael Vassin and Alexander Sherbakov from the Soviet Academy of Science made a brave and outlandish claim at the time that the moon is an artificial satellite of Earth. They go on to suggest that our moon was put into orbit around the Earth by unknown intelligent beings. Vassin and Sherbakov both agree that the size of our moon is just too perfect for it to be a cosmic coincidence. The Russian scientists suggest, even though they believe the moon is hollow, it's only hollow for about 25 to 30 miles or 40 to 48 kilometers to depths, where it has some type of solid core. If you recall, NASA said that the vibration traveled down the depths of 22 to 25 miles or 35 to 40 kilometers. Vibration and sound waves travel and bounce off of anything solid and go back up to the surface. It's no different from seismologists conducting seismic activity to locate oil, natural gas, or water beneath the Earth's surface. They vibrate the ground and send the vibration down until they come back to the surface and they can be determined how deep it may be. So let me pause right here. The Apollo missions, they're unique, on their own, but when you have a potential hollow moon involved, this just blows everything out of the fucking water. Like, that's insane to me. When I first heard this story or researched it, that whatever the thrusters they used to propel themselves off the moon's surface, they dropped that motherfucker. They dropped it and it landed on top of on the moon's surface. It created a small crater, and that damn thing rang. The entire moon surface rang like a bell for 55 minutes. That's insane. To me, that's a no-brainer. Like, okay, this motherfucker's hollow. How else could you explain something ringing for that long just by dropping something on it? How? It doesn't make sense. And they supposedly set up these seismic equipment to study what they call moonquakes. How we have earthquakes on Earth. They wanted to see if the moon had its own moonquakes, so to speak. And it turned out that they uncovered something that they probably didn't want to have uncovered, Because you imagine if they would have went public with that and told everyone, yeah, we think the moon is hollow. That's a fucking mind freak right there. People would stop believing in what the fuck you're doing and what you're saying, So it makes sense to keep it secret. That's why that secret test they had the Chapel Bell experiment is still classified today. Can't look at it. It's not viewed with the public. Why? Why? Because they don't want people to know the fucking truth. You know? I'll make them look stupid. Probably stupider than they think they don't look. Now, what could cause the moon to vibrate for so long? And that's the question. Like, even if it was hollow, why would it vibrate for so long? You know? Where they say that it, up to 3 hours it vibrated. And it was traveling to depths of 22 to 25 miles or 35 to 40 kilometers deep. Hitting something solid and coming back, you know? And that's why I mentioned the example about locating oil, water, or natural gas, you know? That's pretty much how it's done. These seismic crews, they go out with their equipment, they lay it across the ground. They bring in these big, I don't know what the fuck they are, but they have these large plates on the bottom of it, and they lower it to the ground, and they just shake the fucking ground. Send sound waves down, and all that it's doing is the sound waves, they bounce off something and they come back. And they don't know what it is. It could be oil, it could be water, it could be natural gas, but they know something's there. And they'll give them a gauge of how deep that is. And then you drill your exploratory well, and you figure out what you got there. And if it is what you think it is, then, you know, you start drilling more, you know? But that's the same concept on the moon, what they did with the seismic equipment. When it was vibrating for so long, it went down to depths of 22 to 25 miles, bounced off something, and came back to the surface. You know, it comes back at different frequencies. That's why they know it's not just bouncing off another hollow part of the moon and came back to something else. You know, it changes the sound waves, I guess you would call it. That's why it comes back different. So they know something else is there. But yeah, that's insane. Like I could just end the podcast right now and say, yeah, that motherfucker's hollow. Okay. There's no other way to explain why that motherfucker rang for so long by dropping a little fucking, whatever the fuck you had on the back of it, you know? How heavy was that thing? It wasn't that big. You know, the little capsule that they used to leave the moon, it was small, but yet it made the moon vibrate for almost an hour. Let's keep it moving here. When you put together all the moon's strange coincidences, then you reach out to our next suggestion that possible alien life is living inside our moon. And it's actually an active base for aliens to come and go to Earth. Before you press pause on this podcast and cuss Uncle Yuck out, just hear me out. Let's go over the facts that we know of today to be true. And that's how the moon is tidal locked to Earth. What does this mean? Well, in short, it means the orbiting astronomical body is locked into position with a larger astronomical body and will always keep the same face toward the object it's orbiting. This is why we only see one side of the moon from Earth, and we never see the far side or dark side as it is called. Now, this is not rare feat because the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto all have tidally locked satellites. The Sun has Mercury tidally locked, to be clear, and does not have its own separate satellite. But back on topic, we talk about the side of the moon that we never get to see from Earth. For argument's sake, let's say, the aliens do have a base on the far side of the moon, and they use it to come and go to Earth. We would never see them. It would be the perfect way to keep cover and not have anybody from Earth viewing through a telescope to see you. The next fact is the icing on the cake. And it took place during the Apollo 11's mission that made history for the first time man stepping on the lunar surface. If you recall my fake moon landing episode, I mentioned in that episode a 2-minute segment on the live broadcast from the moon landing that had no audio or no visual. NASA obviously said it was a technical difficulty, but it was actually Neil Armstrong discussing something bizarre. Neil Armstrong had deliberately switched to the medic line on his radio so he could speak to NASA freely and not have it transmitted over live television. Neil Armstrong stated that spaceships are lined up across the far side of the moon and they're watching us. Armstrong would go on to say that the UFOs were massive and just sitting there observing them. Is this still a coincidence that the moon is tidally locked so we only see one side of it? How about Neil Armstrong's account of seeing spaceships lined up and watching them? I know they weren't. I know there were recent reports that suggest that the UFOs are living underwater of our oceans. But why can't they have a base set up on the far side of the moon that can easily be accessed? Sure, the government just came out and said the UFOs are indeed real, but they can't really say that aliens are the ones operating them, which I find ridiculous. But if UFOs are real, then I don't think a theory about the moon being hollow or housing alien base is too far-fetched at this point. I would like to know why none of the Apollo missions were sent to the far side of the moon. Why haven't any astronauts stepped foot on the far side of the moon? These are the questions that make me lean toward the side of crazy and think something may be hiding on the far side of the moon. Sure, China and Russia took pictures of the far side, and one of the Apollo missions orbited over the far side, but I want to know why humans never stepped foot on the far side. A lot of effort is being put towards Mars today, and nothing about going back to the moon. It's because something on the moon warned us to never step foot on it again. At this point, nothing is out of bounds when giving your own personal theories on what the hell is going on. Excuse me. So, the moon being tidal locked, in my opinion, adds more mystery to this hollow moon or artificial moon theory. You know, we only see one side of it. We don't see nothing else. We see the same fucking moon. You can walk out any time of the night, look up, you're going to see the same fucking moon. Get in your telescope, it's going to look the same. You know? And that has to do because it's tidally locked. Yeah, the moon's not the only thing in our solar system tidally locked, but it definitely makes you wonder. You know? It's so perfect. Could it be hiding something on the opposite side? You know? And that the Apollo mission where Armstrong said that, like they're here and they're watching us, you know? I think he said something like, oh, those suckers are huge, you know? Look at those things. It's just, I'm sure he wouldn't talk about a pair of tits, you know? He was talking about spaceships. And why can't we put a man on the far side of the moon? You know? Why we always land on the side that's facing us? You know? Wouldn't you want to explore the far side too? Or is it you just thought maybe it was all the same? You know? I don't understand that. You know? I don't have anybody who works for NASA, but if you do know, could you please reach out to me and let me know why we never set foot on the far side of the moon? You know? You sent rovers there. The Chinese and the Russians sent rovers there to take pictures and roam around. Why can't is that astronaut there? You know? Sorry about that. And we're so obsessed with Mars right now when our fucking moon could be fake. Like maybe that's why we're not going back, because it's not fucking real. You know, and there's something living there and saying, no, kick rocks, motherfucker, don't come back here. Like, okay. Because you think about it, the Apollo mission, the Apollo program was short-lived. It was the late 60s to the early 70s. That make you think that, okay, something told us not to stop coming there. Warned us, scared the fuck out of us, you know? But I don't know, man. It's just, it makes you think. It really does, you know? And that's why, like, I sit there and think, like, we've never gone back or don't even have any interest of going back to the moon. That's the thing that makes it seem plausible that it's fake or it's hollow or whatever, you know? Because if NASA did their test that they said they were going to do or that they did, and they found out that the moon is actually fake or hollow, then, I mean, what's the point of going back, you know? You know, okay, this shit's fucking fake. Okay, what are we going to do here, you know? So now it's, see, now you guys understand how this fucking just fucks with your mind when you start thinking about shit like this, you know? It just really just grabs it and just shakes your fucking head. Like it's a fucking, what's those little things they have in the bands? The little fucking, they look like little fucking drumsticks. They just shake like, that's what they're doing with our head in this episode. just shaking it around. All the space in between Uncle Yak's fucking ears, you know? The brains just rattle it around in there, you know? But yeah, this is an episode where I like to give my own theory on things, you know? My take on everything that you just heard and digested and went through your brain to be processed. My theory on all this is pretty much a standstill, as I still can't put a single theory into play as to what our moon is and how it got there. I agree that some scientists who claim that all the right components of the moon are too good to be a natural occurrence and something else is at play. How is everything placed so perfectly, just the right size for it all to be a big coincidence? I honestly feel that even experts don't even know how our moon came into existence, and they don't have the slightest idea or theory that can explain anything. I definitely won't look at a solar eclipse the same again when I see the perfectly sized moon lining up with our sun over 93 million miles away. Even if experts had proof that the moon was in fact hollow, it would never be revealed to the general public because it doesn't line up with what we were all taught in school. And that can very well be the case with NASA keeping the files from the late 60s classified that dealt with the experiment on the moon focused on its ringing. The Anunnaki race of aliens said to assist the Sumerian civilization with various inventions and tools, also taught them about our solar system. How could a civilization over 6,000 years ago have knowledge of our solar system and draw it to scale? That's where the Anunnaki alien race comes in, and it's believed that they gave advanced knowledge about our universe. They said they also mated with humans and created a hybrid race to use as slaves to help them mine gold needed for their own planet. What if the Anunnaki created our moon and placed it where it is today? It would be the perfect place to monitor their hybrid race and come and go as they please, or just to keep us in check to make sure we don't kill each other off. Sure, the government will admit UFOs are real, but will say it doesn't improve the existence of alien life. That's what Uncle Yak is here to tell you guys. Yes, aliens do exist, and they are very interested in our planet for whatever reason. Nothing is very surprising to anyone anymore, and at this point, I think it would be pretty cool if our moon was fake the whole time, and it was in fact a base used by alien life to observe us with no interference from us. Hell, we may never know the truth about our closest neighbor in space, but we do know with all the information presented that is indeed very strange and definitely not a coincidence, kind of like everything else in our solar system. And that's my take on it. You know, I really do believe that whatever it is, whether it's a fake artificial moon with an alien base inside it, or if it's hollow, that it's just fucking mysterious. I don't have many words to express my own personal beliefs on this this episode. It just rattles my brain that much that it's like, fuck, man. Like, I don't know which way to go. You go one way, like, oh yeah, then you look at the other side, like, that's kind of true too. That could be, you know, it just makes you wonder, man. You know? That's why I always go back to the Anunnaki. How they're such an advanced race of aliens. Came down and fucking gave us some information. Now, I actually encourage you guys, if you've never heard of the Anunnaki, to research it and look it up. There's a lot of stuff on them, and the stuff that you would find out about them is very, very interesting. You know? I don't think it's a coincidence over 6,000 years ago that the Sumerians had a clay tablet with the universe to scale with all the planets on it. How would you possibly know what the fuck is in space 6,000 years ago? You had the sun, you had Earth, you had Jupiter, which was bigger than all of them. Like it is, you know? But they also had 10 planets on there, not 9. And that 10th planet was Nibiru, which was where the Anunnaki were from. Now, how would you just make that shit up and just draw? You know, you had some fucking influence, you know? Someone told you about it, gave you fucking some tips, you know? And something that something that advanced for that time frame? Is it that far-fetched that they made a moon for us and placed it there for us? The perfect spot, tidally locked, so it only faces one side, only faces us. You can come and go on the back side, how you like, you know. It makes you wonder, man. It really does. But yeah, that's this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed researching it and presenting it to you guys. You know, I really do enjoy giving you guys these episodes each and every week. And I really do thank you guys from the bottom of my Uncle Yak heart for tuning in and supporting the show. You know, I really enjoy it. All the feedback I've been getting, all the positive feedback, interacting with you guys through direct messages. If you want to talk about anything, like we can talk about anything, you know. I got opinions on everything. And if there's something that I never heard of, I'll look into it. Well, that's the best way of getting a hold of me. My Instagram, Uncyak, UNCYK, all one word. You know? But yeah, like I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the podcast, look out for that special episode next week, next Friday. It's a storytime episode with a special guest. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys will dig it. Well, I hope you dig it. I know you guys enjoy the story time when I do present them. So look out for that. And that's all I got. You guys keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. You guys know the deal. I'll see you guys on the flip side.